Palumbo with RxMuscle.com. In the Iron Asylum with Frank Mannarino. We are here in the off season doing a little chest training at Apollon Gym in Edison, New Jersey. Welcome, Frank.
Hi.
Frank, you're only 19 years old. The last time we did one of these training videos with you, I believe, was about 2 years ago?
Yeah, 17.
And you weighed considerably less, so much so that I don't even recognize you. Talk to me what happened over the last 2 years.
Well, I just listened to Rob, my trainer, Rob Samborski. Just ate like a fat kid.
But you're really not that fat. I mean, you do have some body fat on you, obviously, but you're pretty muscular, and you look like you have abs.
Yeah, I do have abs. I'm sitting about 245, 248.
At what height?
5'5".
And at 19 years old. I can't even imagine what the kids in school must think, or at least when you were in school, thought of you. Did they just were like talking?
Yeah, my senior year of high school, I just kept quiet. I had early release. Okay. So I didn't really talk to much people. Then I would just come to the gym and
train.
That's where I hung out.
Where did you get this impetus at such a young age to want to be a top level bodybuilder? Obviously, there must have been an event in your life that made a big impression upon you.
Well, my sophomore year of high school, I wrestled. Right, so after the wrestling season, I went to the gym to get bigger. For next wrestling season, but I just fell in love with the weights.
So it was all through school?
Kind of. Also, my uncle, he was a bodybuilder, so I remember being little, always fascinated by it.
Okay, so you were exposed to it as a kid. A lot of kids aren't, and they're not exposed to it until they maybe come to the gym once they're in their 20s or something like that.
Yeah.
Now, being only 19 and not turning 20 till I think December, you told me, what was the reason you didn't do teen nationals this year? Because it would seem like you had a good chance to maybe do real well with all this added size. There must have been something going on in your head.
I didn't really... I don't want to badmouth doing teen nationals or anything, but I kind of think it's not worth it because no one takes teens seriously. Mm-hmm. So just why not take your teen years to get as big as you can, so when you reach 20, 21, you could actually have mass to compete with the men.
So you're thinking ahead already. You're thinking, you know what, I'm interested in being a pro bodybuilder. To me, I'm not worried about the teen nationals. It's not going to get me anything, aside from maybe a little exposure.
Yeah.
When was the last time you did compete?
Summer of 2009. I competed in the Northeast Grand Prix.
Okay, and you were only 17?
17.
And how'd you do at that show?
I took teen overall and first in men's middleweight.
Okay, so theoretically you could have done very well at Teen Nationals this year had you wanted to do it.
I would like to think so.
But people will always speculate. Moving forward, bodybuilding is a tough career to make a living in, obviously. There's not many people making money, and maybe just the top guys. What did your family think about your decision to dedicate yourself exclusively to bodybuilding at this point? And I ask you this question because I'm sure there's a lot of other teens out there that are listening to this and saying to themselves, what am I going to tell my parents? I want to be a bodybuilder. What did you tell your parents?
I've never really had that talk with my parents.
So are they in support of what you're doing?
They are supportive of what I'm doing, but I don't think you're going to get money from competing itself. It's going to be maybe coming up with your own supplement company like you, or
endorsements, obviously,
or something like that. So.
But it is a tough field. There's not many people doing it. So I always tell people, do what you're passionate about because you'll make money eventually. The money just will come to you. And I think that seems to be the approach you're taking, more instinctual. I'm going to do what I love, and somehow the money will find me.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's I think, a great way to live, and I believe in that wholeheartly, and I've seen a lot of successful people because of that. But it's hard to explain that to your parents, I know that. But your parents seem to be cool with the whole thing?
Yeah, they're really cool, real supportive.
Do they pay for all your food?
They pay for my food, but I cover all my supplements.
Gotcha.
Like protein.
You live at home still?
Yes.
Okay. And how many meals are you eating per day at this point?
Probably about 6 meals and 2 to 4 shakes a day.
Okay, so that's a lot of food.
Yeah.
For a small guy, not for a small guy, a short guy like you. You're a huge guy. Actually, you remind me a lot like Jeff Long when he was, coming up. He was just an enormous guy, a lot of mass on your body. Probably your most difficult thing will be getting in shape, at some point. But like I said, you're staying relatively lean. And is that something you're consciously doing, or you have a good metabolism?
I have a good metabolism. Like before I came here, I had a cheesesteak, mozzarella sticks, French fries, chicken fingers,
So you eat what you want, basically.
Topped with a milkshake.
Gotcha. Well, a milkshake on top of that. So obviously you have no problems with lactose.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you're lucky in that respect. It's important that people know this, and the reason that's why I'm asking is because some kids might say, well, I'm going to do exactly what he does, and other guys can get fat as a house doing what you're doing.
Yeah, like my friend, he can't eat like me. He'll blow up.
Yeah. Talk to me a little bit about chest training. You have an enormous chest. What are some of your better lifts? I know bodybuilders don't really care about lifts, but I'm sure in your head you have some personal records that you've set.
Well, I kind of try to not lift with my ego because I've talked to many guys in the gym. It only leads to injuries. So, I mean, you want all my lifts, or
well, give me some of the lifts that give me some of the lifts that you're impressed with, and the people would say, "Wow, a 19-year-old kid, that's a lot of weight."
A couple weeks ago, I incline pressed 385 for 9.
That's very impressive.
Yeah. Yesterday, I did legs. I squatted 500 for 10 reps.
Wow. Yeah. We got to get you to the next Bros vs. Pros squat off event.
What else? My leg press is pretty strong. I had 1,900 pounds.
Wow.
I stacked the leg press and had 2 guys sit on top of it. They're 200 pounds each. So
we got to get out here and train and film you training legs next time you get into that.
I thought about training legs.
Yeah, maybe we'll get you out to the Bev Francis gym and we'll do some leg training out there so we can get you, because I think that people will be impressed. To see a 19-year-old kid do that, not many guys can do that. We should definitely document that on video. Let's talk a little bit about cardio, okay? Because people always ask me how much cardio you do, Dave, because when I was over 300 pounds, and I always said, well, I didn't do any. I don't do any. I don't really get fat. So is that something that you just don't even worry about?
I haven't done cardio since my show. Yeah. Even for my show, I didn't have to do that much cardio.
Let's move back to chest. We were talking about chest a little bit. How do you structure your chest training, and how would you recommend that guys like yourself who are trying to add mass structure their chest training? What have you found works best for you?
I like to start off with a stretching, a movement like a fly.
Okay. So you like to pre-exhaust?
Pre-exhaust, yes. Also, I seem to respond more to heavy lifting and less reps. I tried the high reps, lightweight, didn't really work for me. So
I was always a big believer in that. More of the Dorian Yates style.
Yeah, that's actually they were playing that video, Blood and Guts, in the gym. I watched and studied his training, and winter of 2010, I trained like him, and that's where I got most of my mass.
Okay, and how many sets would you say do for chest total?
16.
That's a lot more sets than Dorian would do. Dorian did a lot less sets.
I like to warm up a lot. Because prevent injury.
Right. So you only do one real heavy set. Is that what you're doing? So give me an example of what your heavy incline pressing movement would be. How many reps? How much weight?
In this video that you just filmed, I did 315 for 10.
That's a max all out. You can't do another rep after that.
Yeah, I wasn't really feeling it today with the weight. So
you're instinctual in the sense that you're not going to push yourself if you don't feel right.
Yeah.
But if you feel good, you will go heavy.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's a good way to be. You know, for guys watching this out there, instinctual is the way to go. You listen to your body. When you don't listen to your body, that's when you get hurt. I remember once I was so happy I had gotten up to squatting 6 plates on each side of the bar, and I said to myself, I got to just do it every single time. And I went to the gym. I just didn't feel that strong one day, and I pushed myself through it. I think I drank like an ephedra, took some ephedra pills, and I wound up pulling a quad muscle. So you're right. You got to be very instinctual the way you feel. Also, if you don't eat enough, that's important as well. You know, sometimes you have a long night, you didn't get enough meals in you. Do you like to train in the morning or at night?
I like to train in the middle of the day around 1:30, 2 o'clock.
How many meals do you usually get in you by then?
About 3.
Okay. So that you probably feel nice and pumped and fresh. Do you ever train first thing in the morning? I always found that I could never do that personally.
I personally don't like it either.
Now, your training partner, is he younger or older than you?
He's not my trainer.
You don't have a training partner?
I don't have a training partner.
Okay. When you do train with people, younger, older, usually, who do you use for motivation when you train?
It's hard to say because I'm usually the youngest guy. I am the youngest guy in the gym.
Okay. Are there guys in here that you say, you know what, you kind of look up to and say, look, this guy's got a lot of experience. He may not be as strong as me, but he can push me through a good workout. It's a tough question, right?
Yeah.
It's a yes/no question, really.
No, not.
So you like to train alone? Is that what you're saying?
I like to train alone.
Okay.
Go at my own pace. Do what I feel.
That's honest. Okay, that's honest. And you feel you're able to push yourself enough on your own. And what do you do if you need a spot?
I'll just ask one of the powerlifters. We have a lot of powerlifters in the gym, and they are good spots. Yeah.
So it's important that you train obviously in a place where you can get a spot because I remember I forget now because I don't lift that heavy anymore. But back in the day when you go heavy, you don't want to get hurt. You get stuck with the weight on your chest. Have you ever injured yourself? I
injured my left pec. I didn't tear it, thank God. I just strained it. I took about 4 months off from training upper body when that happened.
It's a long time. Were you going crazy? You must have been going nuts.
No, because I know in the long run,
it would benefit you.
Yeah, it would benefit me.
You weren't like antsy, like I can't believe I'm not training. I'm getting smaller. Most guys would have that thing going on in their head.
Yeah, but I just ignored it, because I knew once I got back into training, I'm just going to blow up.
All right, well, you're very focused, and that's admirable, and that's obviously going to help your career. At 19 years old, you got a bright future ahead of you, and we're going to keep track of what's been going on with you.
All right.
Well, for now, we are out of time. I'm Dave Palumbo with Frank Mannarino in the Iron Asylum.